Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my garden. I'm Taffany, and today I have just a couple of small things to do, but I have a big decision. If you remember in the other video when I planted the Italian cypress in the front yard, I mentioned that I hope I'm not going to have to move my crepe myrtle. Well, I have to move my crepe myrtle. My husband suggested moving the Italian cypress up just a little bit to make sure they don't touch, the house um, in any way once it starts growing. So I moved them up just a couple feet, which now puts it in the way of the crepe myrtle, or the crepe myrtle in the way of the Italian cypress. It's too much in that little area. It's congested. So I'm going to be digging that up and planting it here in the backyard somewhere. I have two options of where to plant it, and I'm not sure. I'm going to turn the camera around so I can show you what those two options are. Okay, guys, so let's head back here to the bedroom garden. Now, you may notice that this had bricks around it at one point, but I was having issues with the grass getting in between the bricks, and it was just a headache. And I wanted to get the taller metal edging, which I still plan on getting. But in the meantime, I had this in the garage. So I got this out so that I could get something taller, a solid structure that I don't have to worry about the grass going into and annoying me. But I wanted to put um, a really nice classic pedestal and urn in here to planter that I thought would look nice and kind of add a little bit more of a formal touch to this area. That was originally my plan. I'm thinking this is one spot, and I could grow the crepe myrtle in tree form and then put flowers on the outer edge of the circle or at the base of the crepe myrtle, and it would sit right next to this Valencia orange tree right here. The Valencia orange tree will get 10 feet tall. The crepe myrtle will get 10 to 12 feet tall, growing it in tree form. So that's one option. The second option, we will come around here. And by the way, guys, it's cold this morning. At least to me, it's cold. So the second option is right outside of the bedroom garden in this spot. These lantanas were going to be pulled up no matter what. I originally wanted to put a tea olive in this section. So I was going to pull the lantana up for that purpose. But I could put the crepe myrtle here in this section and maybe a couple other little shrubs flanking it, and let it grow in shrub form and not tree form. When I lived in Tennessee, I had one in the front of my house that grew in shrub form, and I really like that. I know tree form, especially here in the Houston area, is very popular. Me, I prefer the shrub shape of it, but this is option number 2. So here, or if we kind of peek in between, or there as a centerpiece there. And to go back to this area here, if I were to put it here and grow it in tree form, a few feet away from this navel orange, that plan that I had of doing a like a pedestal and urn planter, I could always get a smaller version and put here, because I mentioned before that I would be getting rid of this. I had this for a while and I want something more sturdy and solid and nice. And I could put a smaller version here in front of the window. So I could still have my pedestal and planter in the area. So those are the two options. the circle, or here, removing the lantana. The other thing I have to do is just a very small task. When I was putting my little yard snowman out for the Christmas winter decorating, I noticed that I was missing a grass in that spot, leaving kind of a gap. So this is where I kind of had dumped many things. And I've got one little spare grass here, Liriope, right here. So I'm going to dig that up and put it in that empty spot. And if you notice, my Asclepia is gone. If you saw my Instagram last week, I posted my last two little caterpillars. They were chomping away. It was a really cute little short video I put on Instagram. They are no longer here, which means that they have made a chrysalis somewhere. And I have looked. I'm not sure where it is. I haven't found it, but it's somewhere around here. But in the meantime, I'm going to be digging this up, putting it in that empty spot in the front yard, and we're going to figure out where to put the crepe myrtle. So let me go to the front yard and show you the crepe myrtle so you can see how congested it is in that area, and you can see what I'm talking about, why it needs to be moved. All right, guys, let's head to the front. Oh, while we're walking, let me turn the camera around again and you can see what the front, well, this side bed here, what it's looking like. All right, the little bitty azalea that was struggling underneath the tree with the tree roots is doing really good. Got a few blooms. But here, as we come around the corner, you can even see from behind how close they are now that that Italian cypress has been moved to the front. There's three big things side by side now. So the Italian cypress, the crepe myrtle, and a holly. Can't remember what that is. I'm not going to try to guess and give you the wrong name, but this is what I need to move. And on our way up, I'll show you my front porch Christmas decorations. I've got snowflake lights on the front porch. I have a lighted wreath, and I made the bows myself, my first bows. Yay! I did pretty good. It's nice and simple. I'm not one who really likes a lot of decorations, you know, where you could land an airplane on your property because you have so many lights. That's not really me. Now here you see I have a edging of Liriope, and right in front of the snowman. One didn't make it for whatever reason, is missing, so that's where we're going to put the other one, right there. All right. What I will do is tonight, once it gets dark enough, I will come out and show you the front so you can see what it looks like with the lights on. But for now, let's get to the back, get that little grass and bring it up to the front, and then we'll dig up the crepe myrtle. All right. This bed was not a planned bed. This is just where I ended up dumping extra dirt all of the time. And I would constantly come here and just dump the extra dirt. And then I decided, let me make a shape. So I made a shape. I had these extra rocks, so I ended up making a bed. But it was not a planned bed. But I do like it, and I think I'm going to put a shrub back here. But I've been sticking things here that I didn't know where to put or if I would use them or whatever. So Yeah, I've just been sticking them here. All right. We've got the grass with a good chunk of roots, so it's going to do just fine. So we're going to take this to the front yard and get this planted in that little empty spot that I showed you. Before I go ahead and plant that little grass in the front, I'm going to do what's going to break my heart, and that's go ahead and pull out this lantana. I think I've settled on putting the crepe myrtle here and growing it as a shrub. You know, when you do these, you don't know if you're making the right decision. The lantana was coming out regardless. So even though it's so pretty, you know, it was here last year, came back. Um, so it's hard to get rid of something that has performed. But now that I'm actually working on the garden and working on the design, it's now time to put in the things that I have been thinking about, that I've been wanting, and things that my husband mentions that he wants as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them up. But I do think I will put the crepe myrtle here in this section where I remove the lantana. It would be nice to have a tea olive here, so in the fall when you walk through, you can just smell it as you walk by. In addition to having the gardenias here, you know, having like a garden that activates your senses. But I still have this section over here. I can always take up that fountain grass and put the tea olive over there. Next to there's a honeysuckle that's attached to that arbor on one side, and I have a clematis on the other side. But I could always put the tea olive over there if I have to. Oh, oh gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna put it here. I guess I could always move it if I need to. I don't like moving things like that all of, regularly, but I think putting it here, growing it as a shrub, it's got those really pretty red leaves, and then get some nice pops of green, like mini shrubs or something near it, and some flowers. I think it can be pretty. So let's go ahead and dig up the lantana, and then we'll head back out to the front and we'll plant that grass and dig up the crepe myrtle and bring it back here and get it in the ground. All right, let's get started. All right, you guys wondered where I headed off to real quick. I went to get some garden shears so I can cut it down a little bit before pulling it up, so I can kind of get in there and see what I'm looking at. I can see the roots. The best way to do this is to just do it, or else it'll just bother you standing here thinking about it. So let's get rid of it. And lantanas are so popular here, and I have multiple lantanas around the garden. I've got 3 back there. I've got 1 right here on this corner, and then I've got those lantana around the circle of my trees in the front yard. So, they do great, but it's nice if I could find a variety, have a good collection of things here in the garden. So you're not looking at just a lot of one thing. Airplane overhead. Sorry about the noise. We've got the trash, people picking up trash right now, and airplanes overhead. All right. That's one. Oh, my goodness. That was some work, but we got them up. I'm going to go get my trash can, especially now that it's empty because the trash people just emptied it out. And we're going to get all this dumped into the trash can and then bring the crepe myrtle and stuff back. All right. I'll be right back. Guys, look at the root system on this thing. No wonder it was so hard to get up. Look at that. That is wild. Wow. All right, as you can see, we've got it emptied out, ready for planting. All right, guys, let's head to the front, put the grass in, take the crepe myrtle out, bring it back here, and get it planted. All right, we're going to put this grass right here in front of Frosty. And I'm not using any fertilizer for this. These things, I have multiplied them and plopped them in many places, and they pretty much make it as long as you've got a root system on it. All right, that's in the ground. That fills in that empty spot. I feel better now. Now let's go dig up the crepe myrtle. And don't worry, I'll drop some water on that once I'm done with everything. I usually always go back and water. Now this gets like 6 to 10 feet tall and wide. something like that. I think it's like 6 feet tall and wide. Can get bigger. So once that grows and widens up a little bit and this spreads out more, there's not going to be too much space left right in here. And if there is a little bit of space, I can always put a shorter shrub, medium shrub, kind of in front of these, like about right here. Or I can use this front spot for a coleus planting each season. But definitely these three together, it's too much in this one spot. They're all too big to be this close together. So we're going to give this baby its own private spot. I don't want to break the root system and make it too small, so we're going to dig as much as we can. All right, Crape Myrtle is now gone. We'll take that to the back and get it planted. Okay guys, so I pre-dug the hole here. So all I have to do is add my root starter and fertilizer and get it planted. And I've got my partner right here sunbathing, so life is good. But when I was digging the hole, look at the roots that came up. If you remember in one of my earlier videos, I told you that right back here used to be a huge tree. The trunk was like big enough to where maybe it would need 3 people to hug it. I don't know why anyone would have planted something. I know it wasn't that big when they planted it, but with the idea, knowing that it would get that big in the future, it was too big for this yard, unless all you wanted was the tree. And, you know, unless that was all your main focus is. But I wanted a vegetable garden, so the tree had to go. It was too big, it was too much. There were spiders all over the place in the tree. The branches were really low, so it was just more than what we really wanted. So we made ourselves a vegetable garden, and in the meantime we're going to get our new idea of what we want this yard to be completed. We're doing it pretty much everything ourselves except for anything that just absolutely needs someone. But so far, it's just been me. And we'll get it done. We're getting there. You guys are on that journey with me. You didn't see these main parts of laying out the structure and stuff, but now that it's out, you're getting to see me do all the planting, and we'll get to watch everything grow and mature. Because this was in the front and this back part was facing the house, it's really more bare, not a lot of leaves, plus the seasons changing, so it's going to be losing leaves in addition. It's got some cute little berries on here. Little berry looking buds. All right, let me take a look here. So this is where most of the growth is here in the front. So I'm going to face this one forward. So that's what you'll see from the house and when you're coming in the yard. I think that's good. And the back part, it will fill out. It's just because it was facing towards the house. So not much sun, obviously, behind it. I think it will be happy here, though. This section, this part in the yard gets a good amount of sun. Some of this is really hard. Mhm, mhm. Looking good, looking good. Getting excited. I think my Tika and that squirrel are having a showdown. Squirrel's pretty fast. She hasn't caught one yet, but make no mistake about it, Tika has the jump of Michael Jordan. She can jump very high. Her agility is really something. Let's see what it looks like from the front. Yeah, it looks like it's leaning to the side a little. So let's get it a little straighter. Now it's leaning to this side. All right, that's good. That's very good. All right, guys. Well, we've got a crepe myrtle in. We'll see how it grows here. I hope it's a good choice that I made. Like they say, you can always move it. I don't really want to be moving this one much. I just want it to have a home and be happy. So let's get these hard chunks of dirt up and get this kind of leveled out and some nice mulch on top of it. And then we'll be done. And guys, my water hose, poof, exploded the other day. So I had one of those that was expandable, those flexi hoses. So we're working the old-fashioned way this time. I'm going to fill the bucket up with water, and I'm going to use that to water this. And I'll use my little watering can for the grass in the front. But I've got the mulch down and everything, so let's kind of step back and let's take a look, and then we'll get a close-up look as well. All right, guys, I'm all done. I got it watered and I've got everything cleaned up. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to take a look at the Crape Myrtle. So here it is, guys. Let's get a close-up look. It's in the shade right now, but as I step back, you see I centered it. And if I let it grow in shrub form here, even though it looks like there's a lot of space now, it will fill this space up pretty easily. And it can be kept pruned. And I can put in maybe a couple little shrubs, like I said, maybe right here and right here, and leave the daylilies on the other side. So let's go to the other side and take a look. The sun will be to my back, so there may be a glare. Let's see how it goes. And if you go into the bedroom garden and take a step back, this is the view. Imagining it full and thick and in bloom, filling up that area with maybe some flowers along the edge here, which would edge the walkway, something that won't spill over into the walkway, but you know, could be a nice little edging to go on that side and on this side where this zinnia is right now. It could be the same flowers on that side. We'll see. But, and then on the other side, a couple of little small shrubs. But this will fill in that area. That's it. And while we're at it, let me show you. Let me show you this, guys. If you remember a few weeks ago, I bought a mum to put in the ground back here. I had one that I had in a pot in my front yard last year, and at the end of the fall season I put it in the ground, which is this one. And it bloomed in the spring, and then it bloomed again this fall. And if you look down in there, it's got a second set of blooms. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a whole second set of pretty beautiful yellow blooms inside of there. This was starting to open when I purchased it and planted it. This is the one that I bought so that I could balance this out. Let me step back so you can see one here and one here to balance this area. And it is what, 3 weeks later, maybe more, and it is still blooming. I have had some that only lasted like maybe a week or two. So this is really satisfying for me. And don't worry, this back courtyard garden, we will be getting to it. I don't think that we'll be planting anything for the winter, but we will get to it. We'll see. Depends on how the weather is. Again, my goal is to finish the bedroom garden before the end of the year. And you may ask, well, you've planted quite a bit. You know, you've got quite a bit back there. What more could you be possibly wanting to plant? Well, let me tell you. So, what my last few things I want to put in here are, all right, I'm going to step over here past the Crape Myrtle so you can see. And let's see if I can turn and get it in the picture. If I can't, I'll turn the camera around. Let me just turn the camera around. All right, so as you remember, we planted the eugenias here, 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 and here. Next to these two eugenias are gardenia, jubilation gardenias to be specific, a little bit on the smaller side. And if you notice, there's this gap, which I knew would be here once I removed the lantana. And that was one other reason why I wanted to move the lantana, because I want to fill this gap in with a couple more jubilation gardenias. There's room for at least one more, two possibly. So here's the one, here's the empty space before getting to the second eugenia. So I can get, let's see, here's the gardenia right here. And I can put one here and maybe about right here, and then another one about right here. So I could get three in there and have a wall of gardenias in this middle part there. And so basically it would completely close off the back garden area, really making it truly a separate space, with this entrances marked with the Eugenia ball topiaries. And as you enter here, imagine a really nice, elegant pedestal with a urn-style planter on it right in there with some beautiful flowers in it. And in place of the bird bath, either another bird bath or a nice garden statue. And the only other thing needs to be planted is I need to get that second knockout rose to put right here. And then I'll freshen this area up with some fresh rock and pull those last weeds out over there. But this area, other than the additional rows here, and as you go turn around, you can see everything's doing good. And then getting the gardenias in the middle spot there. That's it. So that's 3 more plants to be done. And the column ligustrums are doing good. You can see this is starting to spread its wings, so I need to start clipping on it so it doesn't go wider than I want. And my hibiscus have been blooming like crazy still. The roses over here are doing good. The juniper's doing good. And this Valencia orange was small when I purchased it in the spring, and it's already like this. It was probably about up to here. And so it got a good amount of growth on it. It loves its spot. All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. I want to thank you for joining me in the garden for another little adventure. Pulling out that lantana was kind of heartbreaking because it was looking so pretty, but it had to go. And I think the spot for the Crape Myrtle was a good choice. So we're going to see how everything does. And again, thank you for joining me, and I will see you soon in the next video. Bye, guys.